In this one time at band camp news, a former assistant band director has been sentenced to prison after secretly recording students saying, quote, "nothing was stopping me." So, he might have behaved in a little bit of an inappropriate way when it came to his students. Let's learn a little bit more about this guy. A former assistant band director at a middle school will spend the next 3 decades of his life behind bars for possessing certain photographs of children in a somewhat exploitative way, and also taking some photos of his own of minors in a way that might be deemed to be a little bit suspect. Tyler Dan Townsend of 33 told the Kyle Police Department in Texas, which is very near Austin, I know where it is, that he did not initially think he was doing anything wrong during his web activity, during the affidavit. So he thought this was totally, totally cool. Just a little bit of photographs of his students, just showing their talents. And some other people had some objection to the nature of the photographs that he was taking and possessing. He said, quote, "In the moment, I didn't think I was doing anything wrong because nothing was stopping me. It was just there." Well, it's nice to know that whether it's wrong or not depends on whether or not anyone's trying to stop you in the moment. So if no one's trying to stop you in the moment, it means it's totally okay. That's how that works, apparently. Authorities apparently discovered some 200 images of children that were somewhat inappropriate for their content between his two laptops and his phones. The 200 children photos, not exactly what a band director should probably be having on their phone and laptop. Then also there were some photos that he took. Several electronic devices were seized from his home during the execution of warrants. After reviewing the devices, they found what we have deemed invasive visual recordings of unknowing students that were on his cell phone, including apparently some upskirt photos of girls in his middle school band. So that's fun and exciting. He apparently was taking some upskirt photos of middle schoolers, which means that they're somewhere between 12 and 14, there or thereabouts. And some people thought, you know what? We really don't like the band director taking secret upskirt photos of the 12 to 14-year-old girls. We think that's bad. He thinks it's good. There is a difference of opinion, it seems. He admitted that he had an entire process and scheme to take these photographs. He advised that he downloaded an app on his phone, which would black out the screen when he used his camera. He would then just kneel down to tie his shoe, set down something, drop his phone, or otherwise find a way. Townsend, who worked at the city of Buda, also near my home of Austin, I know where that is, took the photos in an array of locations. These included the band hall, private band practice, the track and field area, a high school, and a water park. Good. He had done some work at the high school, police said. Townsend was first employed by Hayes School District at the Dahlstrom Middle School in 2015 after he passed a comprehensive fingerprint-based background check required of all employees. Townsend, the assistant band director at the Dahlstrom Middle School in Buda, directed campus symphonic and jazz bands and percussion. He also assisted with Hayes High School marching band when Dahlstrom was a feeder middle school towards the high school. So the middle school would go to that particular high school. So he worked also with the students in the high school as they, graduated from middle school into high school. He'd continue to work with them in ways that they may not have appreciated at the time. The Hayes Consolidated Independent School District put Townsend on leave in 2020 after he told cops about the investigation and resigned 4 days later. The fallout from this betrayal of trust culminated in Hayes court last Tuesday. He pled guilty to 10 counts of possession of the images of the children and 7 counts of invasive visual recording and was sentenced to 30 years in prison for all this. So that's how that played out in a Texas courtroom. Thus, that brings us to the end of the story of Tyler, pictured here, who was a band director for middle school in Kyle and Buda. And he liked the images of the children He seemed to particularly like the images of the 12 to 14-year-olds, and he liked also doing his own artistic expression to make sure that he had the photos that he particularly wanted, including by doing some secret upskirt photos of the 12 to 14-year-olds that he presumably used for his, personal research. And we found these photos and also 200 photos that were even more explicit involving children. And, we have frowned on that. So we have frowned to the point of, you know, 30 years in prison. And that for the moment brings us end discussion of the story.